Hi everybody, Ellen here. Today I come to you guys with a new video, and you know that since you're watching this video. Never mind. But today I'm going to talk about the books that I thought was the most disappointing books I read during 2017. And today I think it's 12 books I'm going to talk about. I did read a total of 189 books in 2017. So I did read a lot of good books, but there was 12 of them that I was really disappointed in. Some of the books I kind of hated, but I didn't want to make a worst books kind of read because some were just disappointing, you know, rather than really bad. But the books that are on this list, I gave 2.5 stars or lower. So yeah, let's get started. And I think you all know which book is the first book I'm going to talk about. I mean, these books are not in any particular order, but I think you can all guess one of the books that are on this list. And that is Given to the Sea by Mindy McGinnis. And I actually got this one in a fairy loot box. I don't remember which month. But I did read The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis, and I really liked it. But when I read the synopsis for this book, I wasn't really interested. I thought it sounded kind of lame, to be honest. I didn't really like the premise of it at all. So I thought, nah, I'm not going to read it. But then I did get it in my fairy loot box, and then I thought, fine, I already have it. Might as well give it a chance. So I did. And I absolutely hated it. I mean, this is about a girl that her entire destiny and the reason why she exists is that she's supposed to be given to the sea when she's old enough, and she also always have this kind of connection to the sea, and she actually wants to go into the water, but she has to get an heir before doing so. And in this entire book, I don't feel like they problemize rape enough. It's sort of like meh kind of thing. They don't problemize it enough. I feel like women are just not like, women are not treated well. That's not problematized at all. Some kind of sentences and scenes in this book is actually really like horrific and horrible, and while I was reading it I was like, what? Like, it really grossed me out. And I do know I've read this section every time I talk about this book, which has been a couple of times, but I thought, for if you're a new viewer, I thought I would read it anyways, or maybe you have forgotten. So I have this little tabby thingy exactly where it is, because I've done this so many times. This is what one of the main characters say about a girl he's known pretty much since she was little. And it says, "For a moment, Dora's all I see, and a thin thread of desire that has been weaving through my body suddenly becomes a tapestry that might smother me. Her eyes, skin, hair, everything that has always been Dora comes together in a burning moment in which I want her so badly, I would take her there on the blood-slicked grass among the dead with her brother watching." So there's been this big fight between two different people, and there's a lot of dead people being butchered, people injured, and he wants to have sex among the dead with the girl's brother watching. I'm like, nope. Actually did finish it just to find out how horribly bad it was, and I hated it. So moving on. I gave this book 1 star, which I think it's too much. And the next book I wanted to talk about is Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows. So Jodi Meadows was one of the Lady Janies that wrote My Lady Jane, and I loved that book so much. So I had really high expectations for this one, and this one I actually got in an owl crate a couple of months ago. So I had really high hopes for it, and to add on that, there was also supposed to be dragons and stuff, you know. But we meet this girl Mira, and she is named the Hope Bearer, because there's like these different islands that go together to make a truce, and Mira just happened to be born on the right day, so the truce is named after her, which is why she is the Hope Bearer. And she actually like finds out that something is amiss, so she goes to the, like, I don't even know what they call themselves. So she goes to the leaders and tell them what is wrong, and she gets sent to the pit for that. And the pit is sort of like their version of jail, but it's sort of underground, really. So first of all, we were promised dragons in this book. there are very few scenes where there's dragons in it, and it's not even very cool when they're in it. So that was disappointing. And also Mira, who is the main character, I really did not like her, which is a huge problem for me because I want to like the main character. But she was so like obsessed with the way she looked. I get it that that was the way she was brought up because her mother was obsessed with the way she looked, also because she was supposed to be the face of the treaty, really. But she constantly thought, like, every time she got injured or every time someone looked at her while she was standing in the pit and she knew that she hadn't been able to shower for a while, she was like, oh no, please don't look at me, I look horrible. Or when she got this like injury in her face, like, no, I will never look perfect again. Like, that was all she was thinking about constantly, and it was so annoying. She thought it was more important to look beautiful than it was that her friend was like being mistreated. I mean, it was so annoying, and I was so over it really quickly. So I gave this book 1.5 out of 5 stars, and I think this is supposed to be a trilogy, which I will not finish. The next book I want to talk about is P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, and this book is the second book of the To All the Boys I Loved Before trilogy, and this is about Laura Jean, and she actually has a lot of unrequited crushes that she has not like dared to do anything about. So she has written like letters to the guys and to get over her feelings for them, and then she put those letters in a hat box and they just kept them there, all ready to be sent out, really. But one day they actually do get sent out mysteriously, and she, you know, it's kind of awkward when the guys are starting to receive the letters, and you know, shit goes down. And I really did like the first one. It was very obvious how the letters got sent out, but oh well. But I did like the characters and the plot. But this, in book 2, Laura Jean, she's supposed to be like, I think she's supposed to be 16 or something like that, and she actually, she's 10. She is so like, she's jealous. She wants the guy to be jealous as well. Wants to get her will through and everything like that. And she is so annoying, and I really did not like the second book. And I have no idea how I managed to finish the trilogy, because I really did not want to read book 3 because of book 2, but I wanted to finish the series. I gave Peace I Still Love You 2.5 stars, and I think that was kind of a nice kind of rating. And next we actually unfortunately have another book I gotten for our grade, and that is The Sandcastle Empire by Kayla Allison. So this is a dystopian book, and you know, the world has gone to hell, and the main character is trying to get to this island where you're supposed to be safe, but it turns out it's like a lot of crap on that island, and shit goes down, and you know, shit happens. The main character, she treats her friends like shit. The main character is boring and annoying. I do not like the romance in this book because it was so insta-lovey and just not good. Nothing freaking happens for like, it's like the last 100 pages, or even that, like the last 50 pages, that things actually happens. And at that point I'm so bored that I don't even care anymore, and it's just no. So I gave this book 2.5 stars, which I also think is kind of a nice reading. But I did think that it had potential, like the first 100 pages, but then when nothing happened, it just went downhill from there very quickly. And then we have Kill All Happy by Rachel Kahn, and this is a very short book, but it did not stop me from disliking it. So the main character is supposed to end high school, and there's this restaurant called Happy's or something, and that is out of business, and behind that restaurant is this big amusement park that has been out of business for a long time. And since they want a big last big hooray, and you know, take up it was sort of a tradition to have the party there, and she wants to do one big last hooray before all of her friends leaves town. So she actually manages to, you know, get the owner to, you know, let them have the party there. And of course, like things get out of hand and everybody goes freaking crazy, and then she has this teacher who's not for any cause supposed to find out about the party, and that crazy teacher is crazy. And this it was very predictable. It was boring. I did not like the characters. I really thought that there would be like more of a meaning to the book that would reveal itself like later on, because I mean I thought an amusement park that is no longer like in business would be really cool. It was not. So I don't really like, I felt like I wasted my time reading this book, really, to be honest. I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. And the next book I want to talk about, which is a book I know have been, you know, around booktube a lot lately, and that is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. And I have heard that this has gotten kind of a mixed review, and I do understand why, because okay, so let's start from the beginning. So follow this girl Isabel, and she's a really skilled painter, and then there's Fae folk, and they actually pay her, Isabel, to paint their portrait, but one day she actually paints mortal sorrow in a Fae's eye, and apparently that's a big no-no, so she has to go with this dude to his court of some kind, you know, because apparently that's what you have to do. If you run away from people that are dangerous, you go straight to them, because it makes sense. So yeah, like, first of all, there's a lot of A Court of Thorns and Roses vibes to it, and they're not good vibes. It's so insta-lovey, I don't even know, like, turn one page and then all of a sudden they were in love, pretty much. The mortal sorrow thing, I don't like. Why is that a big deal? Like, it's stupid. And it was so boring, nothing happened, and yes, I get it, the cover is freaking gorgeous, but unfortunately that is not reflected on the like actual events and writing of this book. So I originally gave this book 3 stars, but since, you know, sometimes when you think over certain books and you realize afterwards that you like them even less than you thought from the beginning, so at this point I feel like it's more a 1.5 stars rather than a 3 stars, so I will actually lower my rating on this book because it was just not good. And now we actually have 2 books in the same series, and that is Every Heart a Doorway and Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna Maguire. We get to take part of this place called Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children, and the story pretty much revolves around the fact that children has gone onto these like different worlds, and it's sort of like, you know, getting into Narnia, different portals really, you get to another world, and then when the kids are too old or shit happens, they come back to the, you know, human normal world, and they can't really handle that, so that's why the kids are sent off to this home to, you know, to be able to handle it, maybe even try to find their own door again. And I know these books have a lot of hype around them, and I did feel like the premise was really like intriguing. I know there's representation for the main character is asexual, which I did like, even though I can't really answer if it's a good representation or not, but if you have any thoughts about that, please comment that down below. But it's a really odd story. Like, I wanted to know more about the different worlds, but I didn't really like the characters at all. Like, I thought they were creepy and weird and not really likable. And I didn't really feel like I got what I wanted out of the story. And I feel like both of these books really would have benefited from being a little bit longer, because they're ridiculously short, both of them. And I don't know. Just something missing, I feel like. But I gave both of these books actually 2.5 out of 5 stars. And Down Among the Sticks and Bones, which is book 2, you actually get to go into one of the worlds that some of the characters have been in. These twin called Jill and Jack, I believe. And they, I mean, I wasn't really interested in their story. I felt like there was other characters that had been in more, you know, interesting places. I didn't really care about their plays, and I didn't really care about it when I finally got to reading the book either. So yeah, I gave both of those books 2.5 out of 5 stars. I have Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter. So this has, you know, when you see the book and you read about what it's about, you kind of get the impression that it's going to be a Alice in Wonderland retelling. And as you guys may know, I love Alice in Wonderland, but I did really not like this book. I mean, there's so few pointers towards Alice. I mean, there's a cloud shaped like a bunny, and the main character is named Alice. And then the like chapter names are like word plays really on the things that happen in the Alice books. But that's where the like connections end. So this is actually, as the name might tell you, that it's about zombies, and it takes forever before the zombies even make like an entrance into the story. Like, you thought it would come on a lot sooner, but they don't. And it's, I mean, the book was a quick read, but I mean, the plot was really boring. There was not a lot of zombies. I did not like the way the zombies were portrayed. I mean, it was like so many like escape holes, and the fact that Alice and her friends were supposed to hunt the zombies, and if something, I didn't like the part with the zombies. I mean, zombies are cool, but she managed to ruin the zombies and made it like pointless to have them in the book, really. And then there was also so much focus on the like high school drama about girls in fighting over a boy, which, I mean, I guess I do love books that take place in high school usually, but it was just not well done. And then every character was described as perfect and oh so beautiful, and she could be a model on a runway. Like, people don't look like that. I mean, write about characters that look human. Seriously. So I gave this book 1.5 out of 5 stars, and that like 1.5 star was because it was a quick read. That was why I didn't give it 1, but I mean, it was a very kind 1.5 because I really did not like this book whatsoever. So then we also have 7 jävligt långa dagar by Jonathan Tropper, and it's about this guy named Judd, and one day on his wife's birthday actually, he finds her in bed with his boss, and of course shit goes down from there, and he goes home to his parents and meet his family and everything like that. And he also got some flashbacks to what was before he found out. And the story was boring. I did not like the characters. Women were not portrayed very well at some points, and everything was supposed to be fixed with violence. Like, violence was the key to fixing every problem, and nobody questioned that. I just, no. So I gave this a very vague 2 out of 5 stars. And then we have Nyckeln till ljuset by Nora Roberts. We meet 3 different girls that have been invited to this big mansion by the owners, and there they find out that they have to find 3 keys to be able to let the, like, triplets souls out from imprisonment, because that's what you have to do. And they're like, one girl had to start, and then comes the next one, and then the next one, and there's a trilogy, and you know, each girl get like 1 book for finding their key, and they're supposed to work together trying to figure out where the keys are. And the main character is annoying. I thought that the plot sounded somewhat promising. It didn't sound like fantastical or anything, but I thought, like, you know, if you write it well, it might work. But the main character is boring and annoying. I did prefer the other 2 characters a little bit more than the main character in this book. I don't know if you're supposed to read from their point of view in the next few books, maybe. And then the main character, the romance with her and a guy in the book, like, it's so insta-lovey, my brain freaking hurt when I read it, pretty much. And like, they've known each other for 1 week, and they're already saying, oh, I love you so much, and I want to get married, blah blah blah. Like, you want to get married after 1 week? This is not Hollywood. It's supposed to be like a little bit more reality than that. And I did not like it, and I will not continue on with the trilogy. I actually unhold it because I did not like it. And I gave this book a very vague, like, not very strong 2 out of 5 stars. And then we've come to the last book I'm going to talk about today, and I know this might be a little bit controversial, but this is Hunted by Megan Spooner, and this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and I thought it sounded promising. I'm not one of those girls that watched Beauty and the Beast 5 million times when I was little. I've seen it like once, ages ago. But so we meet the main character named Jeva, or Beauty as her father calls her, which is so totally random. I get the connection to Beauty and the Beast, but it doesn't work. And her father disappears, and she finds his bloody things in the forest, and she wants to take on revenge, but she gets taken by the Beast. Jeva is kind of stupid. She doesn't understand that the person she's talking to is her, capture. And it's kind of weird, lovey-dovey parts in this book. I don't get it. So yeah, I don't really like the relationship. I didn't really like the characters, and I just thought the book was kind of slow and not a lot happened, and I didn't really care after a while what would happen. So I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. And yeah, those were all of the books I'm going to talk about in this video. If you have read any of these books, or if you were thinking about reading them, please let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video, please don't forget to give me some thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel by clicking the little button down below. And yeah, I hope we see each other next time. Bye!